Good morning and welcome to our session. This is the first session of the day. It is in parallel with another session. And the title of the session is the KiSS program as a benchmark for the future. And I have the honor and the pleasure to moderate this session. And I have to thank a lot FIM and Katia to involve me in this kind of challenge. I accepted very well. Not sure. I was wondering if everyone in this room know what KiSS acronym means. Just in case, I remember that KiSS means keep it shining and sustainable. And maybe KiSS was also linked to women and love between men and women as well. So anyway, I got my glass. Katia yesterday, remember, we need to be sustainable even during the events. Have you got yours as well? Yes, no, yes, I have seen. Yeah, okay, well, good. The number of people taking the glass is a significant number, Katia. We are successful in that. So, what about myself? I am Luca Uzzabocca. I am Italian. And I have more than 20 years, precisely 26 years of experience in procurement and supply chain management in different kind of market sector. I used to work for the pharma sector as well, the financial sector, financial services sector, the electronic sectors, the air conditioning and heating system sector and other kind of sectors. My experience is really focused on supply chain and procurement and relationship with suppliers and the cooperation between, of course, the customers and the suppliers in order to make the difference in business as well as in the efficiency of the procurement and supply chains. Sustainability. I start to work in sustainable development and on sustainability matters early in the year 2002 exactly. After a few years, I also established a not-for-profit organization in Italy with a friend of mine, Angelo Spina, and we were managers, and we thought that managers could change even the way to work in supply chain and manage the procurement and suppliers as well in a different way, in a sustainable way, in a responsible way. This is the reason why we put in place this organization, and we have been working since 2007 to inspire, support, promote sustainability across our members, our corporate members, as well as with a wide network at international level. Since January this year, I became an entrepreneur, a big challenge for me, believe me, because of course it's an investment in terms of impact on the private life as well as professional life. And I established an innovative startup company called Right Hub, which has the aim, from business standpoint, of course, to help not-for-profit organizations to improve their efficiencies and to optimize their economic resources. I mean, just support them to procure better, to manage better suppliers, and to make the right sustainable decision when they buy from suppliers. As well as, of course, we support for-profit companies to make their supply chains more sustainable. Our claim is very simple, right hub, right business, right world. It means our mission is really to make the difference across the business and across the management of supply chains in a responsible way. To be frank, I have not an experience in sports sector. It could be for you very unusual to have me on stage, and we need to understand why I'm here. I think I am a Martian on this stage, but of course, first of all, I have to confess that I'm here because my wife gave me the authorization. Okay, first of all, because I told my wife I've been invited to FIM to this conference talking about sustainability. I didn't mention there was also in the title Women plus Sustainability. This is the reason why I needed to got her authorization too. But joking apart, the main reason why I'm here, as well as for my professional standing in terms of sustainability management, but specifically because in the recent time, according to the FIM, I was in charge to report the environmental and social activities and initiative of KiSS Mugello in 2015. So Right-Hub did this job for FIM, for Mugello Circuit, and we were very, very, very pleased and honored, and I believe it was a very interesting step for Right-Hub too. I remember that we have an hashtag for Twitter. So the hashtag is 2015 Film Conferences. It seems we have a Twitter wall too. I was told there is a place where we can look at all the tweets in order to pick up some questions from tweeters and just put the question to the stage. And now we can go with our session. So I am Italian. There is no any connection, but of course, Italian first, yes. And now we have Marco Riva, first of all on the stage. Marco is my friend, of course, and he is very well known, I suppose, in your sector. He's a general manager, operation, Yamaha Motor Racing Team. Thank you, Marco, for your coming. And I see over there Ignacio, the CEO of FIM. Don't think negative, of course, we are Italians, but I will not start an additional challenge between Italians and Spanish. Okay? Don't worry about that. Second, another high-caliber professional, Katia Hernandez. Have you seen her yesterday? So he's our pillar of the conference. Katia she is the director of the FIM Environmental Commission and also the KiSS program coordinator. I can suggest, Katia, that in your role you can change from Environmental Commission to Sustainability Commission, maybe after this conference. You have to think about, yeah, okay, fantastic. The third one is Edgar Ferreira. Edgar is Director of Sustainability of the Circuit of the COTA. Thank you very much to stay with us. He's from Texas, so, and last night I established a nickname. He's our sustainable cowboy. Okay, you are definitely. And then Cristina Martin. She is a consultant in sustainability. She did a good job for Barcelona, and she's really very, very expert in environmental management. The last but not the least, of course, Tomé Alfonso is director of Motorland Circuit. Thank you, Tomé. He has, of course, a seasoned experience in management of circuits. Today he is managing Motorland, but in the past he managed also, of course, Doha, Qatar, and Jarama, if I remember well. So we have, of course, a high-caliber professional in front of us. So what's the aim of our session? I would like to spend a few words in order to introduce the topic of our session in a better way. And I take a similarity coming from a teaching point of my elder son, Filippo. Filippo is an 18-year-old. He wanted to join the Italian Football Referee Association. He's a young referee. He's a talent. And he says to me, Dad, you know that the first key strategic let me say, topic or issue of a referee when he's refereeing in the green field is best position, best decision. So with this similarity, I can say that our topic today is really to decide sharing know-how, experience, and good practices, which is our best position. So taking information, taking know-how, taking experience, absorb information, absorb any kind of, experiences from our people here. And then, best decision, because from tomorrow, we need to act, we need to react, we need to do something concretely in terms of sustainable management of events, or anyway, sustainable management overall, not just events I can add. And of course, the best decision is in our hands, in the hands of our, of course, panelists as well, in the hands of the audience as well. So that's a very, there's a nice similarity, because Filippo is maybe is smarter than me, because of course he's 18, I am 50, so there is a difference, a gap, a cultural gap. The new millennials, we will talk about new millennials later on. But talking about women, I would remind that I have 4 kids. 1 is boy and 3 are girls, women. Plus my wife, we have 4 women in our family. It's a tough life, I mean. No, anyway. So let's start with our discussion today. I will try to do my best to make more effective our session and take from our panelists the best they have in their minds and in their operation. So let's start from Marco. Again, not because he's Italian, but because it's in the list of the order, let me say. I would like to start from you, and then cross across the other panelists a little bit history. We're not talking about Egyptian, we are not talking about the Middle Age, we are talking about the recent past. So Marco and Yamaha Motor Racing were let me say, the organizations launched the first KiSS in Mugello 2 years ago in 2013, and the first ever KiSS program over there. Yeah. So the first question, just to understand the fundamental of the KiSS program, where did the idea of creating and launch a KiSS program come from? Which was the concept behind? And actually, how do you manage the startup of this very important sustainability program in Mugello and titling KiSS?
Yeah, first of all, thank you for coming. Sorry if I'm a little bit in emotion, because I'm not used to join this kind of event, but thanks to Katia, I accepted full of enthusiasm, because anyway, I'm not here to teach about something, but I just want to explain our experience in unusual world that is racing, where we started to apply some, in my opinion, good concept for our operations. So the KiSS idea was born by just a reaction, because in 2012 I was in Mugello for the GP event, and finally the Monday morning I woke up around the circuit that is, in my opinion, one of the best in terms of not only the equipment in general, but the landscape around is something unique. And I found the landscape completely dirty and not well done. I say, these are not the motorcyclists. We have to do something. So I come back full of power and say, I have to think about how to involve the spectator to have a more, let's say, normal approach during the sport event. Then I start to consider, and I talk at first with the manager of Mugello circuit, that is a friend of mine, and I was able to explain clearly my thought, and he say, yes, Marco, we are doing a lot of efforts, but the important thing is how we transfer our aim to have a more, let's say, sustainable behavior of the spectator. And so far, we inform a lot, but the result is very low. So finally, okay, I thought about to do something. Then I talked with the Giancarlo Pasini, that I met in 2010 when Yamaha make a very simple event in Misano, because we got the ISO 14001 certification. So I met Giancarlo, easy to talk with him, and then I went to Rimini. We went to the restaurant together. In Italy, we used to say that the best business you do is with the legs under the table. And finally, we talk a lot, and we got some ideas. And then I prepared a small presentation for the FIM. But the problem is, how can we keep the attention? How can we, you know, the people coming to the racetrack, they are not expecting a social information. They are there to enjoy. So I had to find the way to keep their attention with some acronym or something. And KiSS was something coming from my past experience working with Japanese company. They used to say, keep it simple and short. But that is, say, one important, what can I say, information for the business. Simple and short means that in racing especially is vital to react to any problem you have. So finally, I used the same acronym, but changing to shiny and sustainable. I come full of enthusiasm to the FIM, and the first reaction was amazing for me, because I met the first time Vito, and we sit down around the table. I still remember the room was a temporary solution because of FIM was starting to move in another place. So, and immediately, so I saw all the people smiling, and this is what I expect when we talk about sustainability, that the people smile. And this is important because we open the mind. And finally, okay, we designed the logo, we start to do, and in Mugello we started the first program that was based only on environment, how to transfer the information in a proper way to the spectators. We use our riders. Our riders were happy to do it. We make some movie, we make some advertising, we make some event. But again, it's a starting point, was a starting point. And the meaning of sustainability is not only environment, but is social, is economy. And we are trying to work as much as possible to expand the concept. This is and why Yamaha is doing, because Yamaha is, in my opinion, one of the leading company in terms of sustainability. I can stay 1 hour to explain you what Yamaha is doing for to improve the quality of the processes around the world. We have 120 facilities certified ISO 14001. That means we are care about the environment. We are care about the emission. This year we launched a new technology that reduced the 50% the fuel consumption on a category of scooter that is, so we are producing around 10,000 units per day. So you can imagine the impact that really we have on the society. But the sport has a big advantage compared with let's say, the standard communication. So we can get the emotional part, the emotional attention of the people. And that's why, so Yamaha leave me to work to promote the sustainability through our racing department. That is also something unusual. This is basically...
Good, Marco, very good, because you touch a good point, benefits and the value added that this kind of program can take to everything, everybody, I mean, environmental, social, and ethical aspect as well. And the baby was born, Katia, was born in Mugello, and you have been working with the Right Green program so since many years ago. You have a great experience, and the baby was born, but of course you adopted the baby, isn't it? How do you embrace, how do you, let me say, embed the KiSS program into your usual, let me say, and very long sustainability program?
Me has tocado el lado maternal con esto del baby. Perdón, voy a hablar. I will speak the beautiful language of Miguel de Cervantes in honor to Jerez. Bueno, me has tocado el lado materno, el lado maternal, pero miren, yo lo veo de esta manera. con mi formación como ingeniera agrícola, Marco me dio una semilla. La FIM la sembró y nosotros la estamos haciendo florecer. Es tan simple como eso. Cuando hablamos por primera vez, me recuerdo que fue un frío febrero del 2013 que Marco me propuso ir a Milán para hablar del tema. Le digo, mira, yo soy tropical, me muero de frío, no soporto estar en una estación de tren ni siquiera. ¿Por qué no vienes a la casa del motociclismo, a la FIM? Y platicamos. Y bueno, tuvimos la suerte que nuestro presidente estaba allí, nuestro CEO, y empezamos a gestar, como menciona Luca, este ser. Yo creo que los que estamos en sostenibilidad tenemos una característica que tenemos esa sinergia, ¿no? Yo creo que tenemos ese gran entusiasmo y compartimos el hecho de ser un tanto soñadores, ¿no? Entonces, empezamos a gestar esto y encontramos eco con la administración y luego encontramos eco con el circuito. Claro, como todo, al principio tiene sus pros y sus contras, ¿no? Sí encontramos algunos obstáculos que poco a poco fuimos sorteando y empezamos a darle forma a este evento. Un evento, un programa, que en ese momento era un proyecto y que posteriormente se convirtió en un programa que nos dimos cuenta en la FIM que tenía una flexibilidad y era tan versátil que se adaptaba a cualquier situación, a cualquier disciplina, a cualquier cultura, por decirlo así. En el momento que fuimos desarrollando, me recuerdo que ese junio se me acercó en el circuito de Barcelona y me dijo, quiero hacer un KiSS en Aragón, creo en el proyecto. Y bueno, de repente esto fue creciendo y nos dimos cuenta que KiSS no solamente abrazaba las acciones ambientales que ya desde hace 20 años venimos desarrollando con la FIM a través de nuestro código, aplicando reglamentación, sino que tenía la gran capacidad de involucrar al promotor, de involucrar a la federación, de involucrar a los pilotos, a los equipos, a los espectadores, a la prensa. Entonces, teníamos un 360 grados de sostenibilidad. Y luego, sponsors. Entonces, claro, ratificamos en ese momento lo que hemos dicho, no lo decimos nosotros, que eso se ha dicho por estudios económicos, que estos proyectos con alto grado de sostenibilidad, con los 3 componentes de la sostenibilidad o con una base de responsabilidad social, son más atractivos para el mercado. Entonces, teníamos ya una cadena de suministro interesada en este programa, teníamos 360 grados de stakeholders y lo único que teníamos que hacer era adaptarlo. Nos movemos a Aragón, me dice Aragón, es que el problema aquí no es la basura. O sea, claro, nos empezamos a dar cuenta que había que irlo adaptando. Visitamos Cota, no basura en Cota, cero, out. Todo el mundo, bueno, es más, son prohibidas las bolsas, ¿no? En Cota. Entonces, había que irlo adaptando. Entonces, tiene también el beneficio este programa que es capaz de educar al espectador. Entonces vienen grandes pilotos que son embajadores ambientales de la FIM y nos ayudan publicitando nuestro proyecto a través de sus motocicletas, a través de sus redes sociales y esto explota, tal como hacen los sherries en Japón. Explota y logramos llegar a millones de espectadores. ¿Se imaginan ustedes un tweet de Valentino, un Facebook de Márquez o de Salvini? Esto realmente llega. Entonces, claro, lo que comentábamos ayer en la noche con Ana Muñoz, los valores del deporte Y aquí veo a mi amiga Irene que me asiente, porque lo hemos discutido muchas veces. Estos valores que tiene el deporte sí realmente son un vehículo para poder transmitir mensajes y que el deporte sirva para algo, aparte de generar endorfinas, aparte de darnos esa sensación de adrenalina, pero que también sirva para educar a nuestros espectadores. Entonces, KiSS realmente se transformó y se empezó a replicar. Claro, lo hablamos con Marco. Entonces, Marco, ¿no te molesta? Siempre hemos dicho, en sostenibilidad no podemos ser celosos, no podemos ser egoístas y lo que tenemos que hacer es inspirar. Claro, empezamos a inspirar otros circuitos, comenzamos a inspirar otras disciplinas y después de nacer en MotoGP, nos movimos a otros continentes, llegamos a Estados Unidos, Cota fue el primero en organizar y espero que otros circuitos también sigan el ejemplo, luego Aragón, luego Barcelona, y luego Tampere con Speedway, y luego creció para el trial en Andorra con una federación, no con promotor ni nada, sencillamente voluntarios, haciendo el programa y el público participando. Al final, Luca, vamos a presentar un pequeño video para que más o menos tengan una idea. Lo quisiera dejar hasta el final porque le quisiera dar espacio a mis compañeros, pero básicamente pues esa ha sido la historia y la visión que tenemos como Federación Internacional de lo que pues se fue gestando hace 2 años.
Well, Katia, thank you. You are as usual a volcano, so many things, I try to take out some keywords, but there are so many keywords from your statement. So sustainability development, the stakeholder management, the community involvement. So there are so many from your speech as well. Edgar, the baby has 1 year old, and of course in Austin, you decided to organize the KiSS program as well. FIM and Katia, I believe, proposed you to do it. How did you react? I think positively, of course, because if you did it, it is something very, obvious. And how do you embrace the KiSS program, not only for, again, the obvious environmental implications, but for instance, the community, the involvement of university, you told me last night, and such kind of things. Yeah.
Voy a hablar en inglés.
En inglés, en americanos. Yeah.
Si representa Estados Unidos, entonces. So, Katia spoke to our general manager, I think at the FIM conference in 2013, and proposed the KiSS event. So he came back to Austin and he said, FIM has something called KiSS. They want us to do it. What do you think? So I said, well, what's the requirements? He goes, I don't know. Just contact Katia and, figure it out. So Katia and I started a series of calls, right? And she was in Zurich, and I'd have to get up at like 5 in the morning to talk to her, and because of the time change. But we had a number of discussions, and so we realized a few things. We realized that a lot of the practical things that were being done at some of the other KiSS events in Europe and elsewhere, that we were already implementing them. So at the Circuit of the Americas, we're a new circuit. We had our first event in November of 2012, and part of the negotiations with the city of Austin and with the local government were that we would, the local government asked us to operate in a sustainable fashion. So we had made a number of commitments in terms of all of the really, in a way, low-hanging fruit, the expectations, right, that we recycle, that we compost, that we have some kind of trend, offer access for cyclists and things like that. So we were already doing a lot of the basic things that you would expect for a green event. And so it was easy for us to kind of incorporate those into the KiSS program. The real value for us, and what really kind of excited us, was that it gave our actions an exposure that as a venue, as a promoter, we couldn't otherwise get, right? So Katia, in our the FIM in our first year, we've done it twice now. In 2014, when we had our inaugural KiSS event at MotoGP, we had Valentino Rossi do an environmental ceremony, right? So if I throw an environmental press conference, first, the circuit won't let me do that during MotoGP. They'll say, nobody wants to hear about, recycling, Edgar. Everyone wants to hear for the race. But by having Rossi, we had members of the public, we had the press, we had a lot of attention. This past year, this year, we had Marc Marquez, right? So the same thing, he planted a tree at Cota, and we had an event built around environmental sustainability. If I had done that without Marquez, maybe my girlfriend would show up, maybe not. But with Marquez, we had a lot of people, we had media. We tracked the media exposure at the circuit, and so there were stories in Spain, there were stories in Italy, there were stories in Asia about Marquez planting a tree at Circuit of the Americas, right? So that was a kind of exposure that we get through the media that we couldn't otherwise get. So that's something fantastic. Maybe I could do that without FIM, but probably not, because I don't have the resources. We're stretched trying to organize an event. We're stretched, I'm trying to implement our sustainability practices, and for me to be able to coordinate with FIM and Dorna and the rider and the team and some of their key sponsors and everything that has to happen to be able to have them present at a media event, I wouldn't be able to do that on my own. So the fact that I can access that through the KiSS program is fantastic. It's also good just to have that high level of support from the FIM. And when we've done it in Austin, we've had some involvement from Dorna as well, which is very good to get that recognition. We this past year we had the tent in the plaza where we had a tree and people wrote down environmental actions, and it's just a way to engage the fans. The thing that sports have, I think Katja mentioned this, and it was mentioned yesterday. The thing that sports have, any environmentalist would kill to have the following that any sports has. We have thousands, millions in some sports of fans who follow what we do. And so to be able to use that platform, and the fans come to be entertained because they want to see a sport. As Marco said, they're not coming because they want to be preached to, but nevertheless we have a tremendous platform and huge exposure to many people who may not have given a lot of time, a lot of thought, thinking about environmental issues, that we can present them with some ideas that they can go back into their lives and make some positive change is important, and it's the opportunity that I think that we have to seize and make the most of.
Good. I remember that in Austin Circuit you put in place an honey production.
Bees, yes, we have bees, yes.
Honey production inside the circuit. That is strange, or is it strange? It is something where it come from,
Well, you're right, yes. We have an apiary, we have bees, and we produce honey at the circuit, right? They're the fastest bees in the world, right? 200-mile-per-hour bees. So one of our, the way it came about is one of our owners, one of our investors, loved bees and owned bees and was looking for a place to house them. And these are rescued bees, so somebody finds bees in a barn, and instead of the bees being killed, somebody comes with a giant vacuum cleaner and sucks them up, and then they take them to the circuit. And we had, earlier this year, we had 10.5 million bees, 10.5 million bees producing honey. And what we do during the events so that they don't bother the fans is we feed them. And bees are very lazy, so if you feed them food and water, they don't want to go anywhere. So you feed them, they just stay in their home. We have the event, and then when the event is over, we let them go out. And
was it not an issue for the riders during the warm-up or during the qualification? No, bees are there.
The bees have their own, they have their own little bee MotoGP.
They don't try to follow the riders, no, because they are the fastest bees in the world.
The fastest bees in the world.
They are following Valentino Rossi or Marquez.
Yes,
or Lorenzo,
the bees this year, the bees were all split
bees,
and divided, yes.
Make honey and the riders ride. Okay. So, pass the microphone to Cristina. Cristina, once again, so we know that Barcelona put in place the KiSS program too, and before that, of course, you are also involved in the environmental management of Barcelona circuit with many achievements in terms of certifications. I remember the environmental certification ISO 14001 and AMAS, if I remember well. What's your experience in, meet the expectation of the circuit of Barcelona in this case to get the certification, and which is the connection with the KiSS program? Are those linked? There is a reciprocal benefits coming from this. What's your experience in concrete, figures? Yeah.
Buenos días. Primero agradecer la oportunidad de estar aquí, Katia. Y quisiera comentar que en el circuito de Barcelona-Cataluña la oportunidad que se brindó de poder realizar este proyecto KiSS, de acoger el proyecto KiSS, fue en un momento muy oportuno porque realmente la gestión medioambiental en el circuito llevaba muchísimos años trabajándose desde un compromiso firme de la dirección en el año 2007, que realmente, quería comprometer el desarrollo, la protección del medio ambiente en el desarrollo de su actividad y a partir de ahí establecer una política en la que realmente eso fuera posible. Entonces, a partir de esa política de compromiso medioambiental, se empezaron a establecer una serie de apoyos imprescindibles de la dirección, consistente en recursos necesarios y podríamos decir que esos recursos fue coger un par de empresas especializadas, una en el desarrollo de la especialización medioambiental y otra empresa especializada llamada ISR que participaban en establecer la estrategia empresarial y los valores a partir de los cuales se desarrolla o puedes intentar llegar a convencer al público, ¿no? Entonces, la dirección también estableció una responsable de medio ambiente que permitió coordinar este proyecto porque tenía voz con todos los departamentos y conocía perfectamente su actividad. Entonces, a partir de ahí, poco a poco, se pudo ir trabajando en la mejora continua medioambiental y en ir sumando valores al desarrollo de la actividad deportiva. La obtención de la certificación ISO 14001 siempre fue tomada como una oportunidad, un reto y un compromiso realmente a transmitir a toda la comunidad deportiva y al público en general, y siempre en consonancia con la comunidad local. Por ello, la priorización de la gestión medioambiental inicialmente partió de una situación cero, hacer una fotografía de cuáles son los aspectos medioambientales que realmente se deben trabajar primero. Todos son relevantes, pero hay algunos en los cuales se debe empezar a trabajar primero, ¿no? Entonces, en la comunidad local de Barcelona, y hace muchos años que se trabaja sobre todo en tema de movilidad sostenible, porque es uno de los aspectos ambientales que provoca mucha contaminación atmosférica, mucha polución, y ese es uno de los pilares que la política de gestión medioambiental se establece como prioridad de gestión. Trabajar en la movilidad sostenible supone también poder implicar a todo el público en ese propósito, que todos sumamos y en verdad, todos podemos aportar. Llegar a transmitir eso es un trabajo de muchos años de gestión. Entonces, la participación del personal en este proyecto es relevante que todos los departamentos puedan aportar desde su trabajo en los proyectos que se establezcan la parte que ellos les pueda corresponder para que se creen sinergias entre todos y a partir de ahí poder realizar proyectos coordinados. La oportunidad que brindó la FIM en realizar el proyecto KiSS llegó en un momento oportuno en el que esas bases de gestión medioambiental ya estaban bastante trabajadas, lo cual no quiere decir que siempre, tienes que seguir avanzando, seguir motivando al personal, seguir estableciendo lo que serían las desviaciones del sistema de gestión medioambiental, poderlas trabajar. En ese momento era oportuno poder dar voz a todas estas acciones. Las actuaciones que se habían hecho en el circuito, con el proyecto KiSS tenías la oportunidad de dar ese altavoz internacional a todas estas acciones que, bueno, de hecho en el año 2012 se recibió el premio en el circuito de Barcelona-Cataluña por una iniciativa que con Katia comentamos que tenía mucha sinergia con lo que el proyecto FIM del proyecto KiSS quería transmitir. Entonces, la iniciativa era el Green Meeting Point, que pretendía dar voz a todas esas acciones, y en el año 2013, con Katia, en la plataforma del Green Meeting Point, se estableció la oportunidad de que en el 2014 se acogiera el proyecto KiSS Barcelona. Y un poco lo que sí que comentábamos en el desarrollo de este proyecto es, sobre todo, visualizar acciones que al público, dentro de una fiesta, les puedan hacer acercarse. Yo creo que destacaría del proyecto KiSS, sobre todo, es esa oportunidad de que el público se te acerque. No eres tú el que tienes que estar como suplicando que te escuchen cuando estás hablando de cuestiones que nos interesan a todos, porque el medio ambiente es de todos, no es de uno, y mucho menos de oficinas, que lo hemos trabajado muchísimo, lo cual no quiere decir que no haga falta. Se debe establecer esa base firme, se debe saber cómo estamos trabajando, se deben dar datos, sobre todo con Irene y Primi, nos ha costado muchísimo poder dar datos objetivos y reales de los avances en la gestión ambiental. Es fácil controlar aspectos directos como es el consumo de agua, el consumo de energía, qué generación de residuos tienes. Fácil dentro de que tienes que recoger mucha documentación para poder realmente luego acreditarlo. Pero hay aspectos indirectos que no son tan fáciles de medir. Y esos aspectos indirectos también nos interesan. Cómo nuestros proveedores o nuestros servicios que se contratan para la limpieza, para la gestión de los residuos o para el restaurante, los bares, cómo ellos trabajan también esos aspectos medioambientales y también puedan dar voz. Tenemos que dar voz entre todos y crear sinergias entre todos, que el proyecto KiSS ha permitido hacer comprender también al personal y motivar que los proyectos son para todos y entre todos ganamos y todos sumamos y win-win. Y ese alcance es lo que a nosotros nos enamoró del proyecto KiSS. Poder dar voz realmente a todos, al público, cómo atraerlo con actividades lúdicas, ciertamente lúdicas, que permitan que eso a ellos, sobre todo los niños, que ya nos ganan siempre en esa conciencia, a los padres también les hagan sumarse porque les dé un poco de vergüenza. Y luego a partir de ahí pues se hizo en el proyecto KiSS 2014 y 2015 se invitó a una escuela que los niños participaran en un concurso de dibujo medioambiental con el embajador, dirigido al embajador medioambiental Marc Márquez, y los dibujos eran de edad de 4 de primaria. Todos los dibujos eran maravillosos, fantásticos, 10 años, con Katia lo comentábamos. Decir, bueno, a partir de ahí, ¿a dónde llegas? Llegas realmente a todas sus familias, a todas las escuelas, al ayuntamiento que se vuelca ahí a apoyar, y todos dichos, apoyos en principio han ido sumando. Entonces, yo solo, por acabar, comentar que la...
Take the microphone
Okay.
close to your mouth.
Aquí. Bueno, solo comentar que en el 2014 se quiso centrar el tema en la adopción del proyecto KiSS a la gestión de residuos, porque es un tema en el que el Ayuntamiento de Barcelona preocupa a la comunidad local. En Cataluña se generan 10.000 toneladas de residuos al día. Eso suponen 2 kilos de residuos por habitante y día en Cataluña. Y se valoriza un 20% solo. En el circuito de Barcelona gracias al compromiso también de la empresa contratada para la gestión de los residuos y el trabajo de todo el personal, se ha llegado hasta valorizar un 70%. Entonces, valorizar es una acción que está en la mano de todos y que nos permite a partir de ahí realmente hacer acciones sostenibles y que no sean solo un discurso. Y ese 70% no ha sido fácil, pero es uno de los retos del circuito y de sus compromisos. Respecto también a la gestión de la limpieza, siempre la visualización de que todo ese trabajo a las personas que están en el circuito puedan ver que ese circuito lo trabaja, que no hay una imagen descuidada. Entonces, es un circuito en el cual también se cuida mucho el bosque del circuito desde hace muchos años, que dispone de más de 7.000 especies vegetales, entre las cuales hay como 2.000 pinos, que son los árboles que más absorben CO2. Y ese bosque del circuito, que ocupa unas 60 hectáreas, que es el 50% de la superficie del circuito, permite compensar las emisiones de CO2 a la par que se suma en que el proyecto de movilidad sostenible sea que todos intentemos utilizar esos transportes públicos que se ponen al alcance de todos. Y esa suma de acciones son las que a mí me gustaría destacar, que en el proyecto KiSS pues, se puedan dar voz para que todos, bueno, sumemos valor entre todos y en coherencia con los objetivos del milenio y el desarrollo sostenible.
Thanks, Christina. I really love your approach to have an holistic vision and view about sustainability and a managerial view about sustainability, because you mentioned business strategy, continuous improvement, measurement, performance management, facts and data. So it means that sustainability is not something which can work only with enthusiasm and passion, but it has to be, sustained and supported by facts and data to demonstrate the benefits. So, and that's the turn of Tomé, talking about benefits, and you organized twice KiSS in 2013 and 2014. So a couple of KiSS programs. You have a wide experience as well on the programs. Talking about benefits, what did you learn or what did you achieve in terms of intangible and tangible benefits coming from the two experiences? And of course, in terms of timing of benefits, results, you should say something about it. Is a short-term, medium or long-term benefit coming from them? So the kind of benefits as well as the timing to get the benefits. Yeah.
Buenos días, good morning. Well, for us, the first thing I have to say is that since the beginning of the project with the Motorland racetrack, we were thinking a lot in what kind of things we could do from the beginning, no? From the moment of the design. So let's say slowly we were implementing different activities, even from the conception of the racetrack. For example, the area that we choose in order to build our racetrack was in land that was sloping down, and we saw that we don't get a lot of rain in that area, but we could seize the opportunity of the profile, this elevation that we had in the train, to see what can we do in order to save, especially to save money and to try to make our racetrack sustainable. No? So basically what we did is we choose the lowest point of the racetrack, and then we have a small lake. We prepare all the different drainages that were coming from the areas of the racetrack, coming from the top, coming from the public areas. And then the main idea or the purpose that we had with this situation was try to recycle some of this rainwater and to reuse it, obviously in many of the cases not being used for drinking water, but for example to use it to prepare the system of irrigation for the racetrack, of the motocross, and from other racetracks that we had. The initial estimations that we had together with the construction company that we planned was to be able to recycle 12% of the water that we were using. First year was 12%. Then we did minor adjustments on the drainage system. In 2010, we went to 15, more adjustments, and so forth, so on. And this last year, 2014, which is the last year from the Aragonese Institute of Water, the research that they did and the calculations, at the moment, Motorland recycles 22% of the water that is obtaining directly from the rain. We are not doing absolutely anything. We are just collecting all this water through all the drains and the main holes.
From the nature.
Just from the nature directly. So of course this represents a save of cost, and obviously we are trying to keep sustainable, because all this water that we are using from the rain, it's water that we are not taking directly from the grid or from the net. So at the same time, we are trying to reduce our consumptions. No? So this is something that from the very beginning of every project, KiSS is present. No? And this is something that is quite important. Then with regards to the program, I have to explain something that was very interesting, because when we hear for the first time about the KiSS Mugello, it was very interesting, because in our events, we were trying to do certain activities that were very much related to sustainability, no? But we just had the lack of that name, no? Of that concept, of that speaker, as you were saying before, of okay, we need a name. We need to call these things that we are doing somehow, no? So when we heard about the KiSS Motorland, it was music for our ears, no? It's just, Katia, what's that? I don't know, but it has to do for sure with something what we are doing.
Oh, Katia told you, I want to give you a kiss.
Yeah. I mean, it was like that. So we took the car from Aragon, we just ran away waiting for that kiss, no? To come to us. So I think we had a meeting in Barcelona during the MotoGP, and 2 months after, we organized our first KiSS event, which was, to be honest, it exceeded totally our expectations, especially because we wanted to generate general awareness of the kind of behaviors that people have to do when attending this kind of events, and we, let's say, did a plan in order to reach our target in 3-4 years, but already from the first year, our expectations were absolutely covered. Because the opinion that we had there in Motorland, and I think it's something that happens, the crowds generally, crowds are lazy. And one of the things that we saw from the beginning is, okay, if they need to access to this door in order to get to this grandstand, everybody wants to park here, just in front of it, no? And we just try to apply this to the concept of saying, okay, if people are going there and they are going with a sandwich, or they are going with cans, they are going with things, what is the first thing we have to do to avoid this lazy behavior from their side? So we try to plan many things that made their life easier in order to contribute to the sustainability of the event. No, I think this was one of the main things, and it worked really well from the first day. Last thing I have to say with regards to benefits, we know what is the situation nowadays with the sponsors and how difficult it is to get sponsors for our sport, not only for the teams, but also for the events. And this is something that we have been laughing with Katia many times. I mean, with the KiSS Motorland, a huge brand like Coca-Cola was the one running behind us to sponsor the KiSS event, which for us was absolutely incredible. And you are knocking a lot of doors in order to get the sponsorship for your events, and then suddenly one of the biggest companies on the planet is the one that knocks on your door saying, listen, we don't know exactly what are you trying to do, but from what we have seen and from the information that we have, we want to be part of it. And I remember perfectly that I think it was after the first KiSS Motorland when I called you, Katia, and I say, listen, these Coca-Cola people, they want to sign an agreement with us for 5 years for this KiSS event. What's the policy of the FIM for this? Yeah, because it was something interesting. So I think from the moment of the conception, in our case, for example, with the racetracks, sustainability is something that has to be considered, and it's something that you can plan in advance, and then probably the exposure, the scenario where you develop these kind of things are probably the events. But since the very beginning, in the moment of the conception of those racetracks, you can do a lot of things that they are very easy to implement then when you are in the event. No? So most of these things related to the activities and related to the conception of the racetracks probably are not things that you can see from day one, but it's something that on a long-term basis you can see the benefits. No, I think Christina was saying before about the forests and the trees that they have in the racetrack. Obviously, the trees normally when you plant them, they are small, but after a few years, so it's not only about us, it's about the future generations that will use the racetrack and the future generations that will have to manage the racetracks. The trees will be there, no? So it's a little bit what we were saying before. You're putting a seed that will grow, and then afterwards it will be a benefit for the future.
Good, man. Good, very good, because you mentioned a real benefit, which is let me say, the proper good management of the water consumption and the natural resources. No, that's a very good point. With a real saving in terms of money, because you didn't spend to buy water or to get water from outside or from the local government administration and so on, but from the rain. So that's a good point. Then for Coca-Cola, I will come back later on because I have a question for you and for the others in terms of the brands, which are the importance of consumer brands across the KiSS program as well. Marco. Second turn of questions, starting from you, because of course you are Italian, I'm Italian, so we need to, to have a partnership. Okay, we kiss each other. Okay, we worked together for the KiSS Mugello this year. Do you remember? Yes. Okay, good. That's first. Your remember is very fine. What's the difference you took from the past editions? Did you see any improvements, any differences, or whatever you want to mention in order of the fact that you did 3 editions and maybe you have a long history and you can give us your opinion about improvement or about differences in terms also engagement of stakeholders, for instance, something has been changed, whatever you want to share with us. Yeah.
The spirit of the ISO 14001 certification is to continuous improvement. In Japanese, we used to say, we use a word, this is kaizen, that means continuous improvement. For sure, from the beginning, after 3 years, we see big steps. Big steps mainly is coming from the reaction of the spectator that are really touched by the information we send to them, the request, let's say the smart request to them to have let me say a more normal, we used to say, behavior. But the other big difference is inside the MotoGP operations, we see the people that are changing the behavior from the working way they have. So I can say that thanks to the sensibility of, let's say, the manufacturer especially, so we see that most of the people in the paddock area are changing the way of working in a more safe way. And this is what we have to be proud, because when we talk about sustainability, also the safety at work is very important. And a big step we did, and still we are in progress to do, is just to show that to show is the right word, to explain that anyway we believe in what we are doing. And so we are changing the way of assembly the hospitality structures. Daily we are treating well all the products that we are using. We have a safety procedure in case of why IRTA is doing, that is the team association, is doing a good job in communication, in explaining how to improve the process. In my opinion, now is the time to talk about the next level. So next level means, okay, we all understood the importance of our message. So now it's time that the message become more structured, and My suggestion is that anyway the FIM, Dorna, and IRTA have to lead, have to include in the sport weekend also a clear mention about the KiSS program. Then, of course, every circuit has the right to decide in which direction to move. This year, for instance, we focus not only on the environment, but also in some social activity. We, thanks to the Valentino Rossi company, we are doing something important for the hospital of Florence. So we also introduce, considering the expo in Milan, organic dinner, just to explain to people how is important the quality of the food, the quality, how the process of the food preparation is important. So it's something new coming, and what I want to say is just I saw the reaction of the people that were smiling. They bring back from the circuit something important. Not only they enjoy the event, that anyway is becoming bigger and bigger. This is what we have to be proud. Also thanks to our activity, to the FIM and Dorna and so on. In my opinion, the next level will be, as Tomé wants to say, to engage the partners that believe in this program. And I'm sure that soon we'll make together a big step to the next level, as I used to say.
Good. Then we will go in details with some things you mentioned, but Katia, we need to talk about right now the domino effect of KiSS program, because of course we have listened from Marco about Mugello, from Edgar about Austin, from Cristina about Barcelona, from Tomé about Motorland. How are you managing, how are you planning the domino effect, the KiSS virus management? Do you have any plan? Do you have any other experiences of other disciplines in which KiSS program has been organized? Do you think there is a problem, an issue of maybe the high visibility of MotoGP, because we are talking about KiSS program in MotoGP. Maybe this is very visible, the top level of visibility, but there are many other levels of championships and disciplines. So what's your idea about the quality and the quantity of KiSS programs as well? Yeah.
Bueno, quiero decirles que ya el programa KiSS es parte de los 7 ejes principales que tiene la Comisión Internacional del Medio Ambiente de la FIM, sobre los cuales estamos trabajando, consiguiendo pues nuevos organizadores que quieran organizarlo, porque como les decía al principio, venimos desde el año 1992 trabajando con este tema. Son más de 20 años con reglamentaciones y tratando de que la gente aplicara las reglas y que entendiera que el problema no es simple y sencillamente el impacto de la moto, es el impacto de todo el evento, la presión del público, los viajes, los automóviles que llegan a los circuitos. O sea, es un conjunto. Y hay algo que no podemos dejar de lado. O sea, existe un problema real, que es un calentamiento global, que nosotros somos parte de una sociedad, que existen unos objetivos del milenio, que existe una preocupación conjunta. Grandes líderes actualmente están preocupados. Ya vemos el Papa Francisco con la encíclica sobre la sostenibilidad. Existe una preocupación global. ¿Cómo nosotros, como organización seria deportiva, vamos a afrontar todo eso? Claro, somos deporte, generamos endorfinas. Me encantó esto que dijo Ana ayer, que generamos endorfinas. Y sí es cierto, pero entonces tenemos que hacer uso de eso y contribuirlo de una manera atractiva. Sí he visto que ya hay más organizadores interesados, y después de escuchar a Tomé, pues creo que habrá muchos más cuando ya tenemos resultados tangibles, resultados monetarios, porque sostenibilidad realmente es win-win. Cristina lo dijo. Yo creo que KiSS es un programa que se puede adaptar y creo que puede ir más allá de lo que es MotoGP. Aquí tenemos la suerte de tener a los representantes, digamos, más destacados en cuanto a la organización de este evento en el campeonato, pero sí se puede. O sea, si aquí hay federaciones pequeñas que puedan pensar, sí, pero estos circuitos tienen la norma 14.000 y estos circuitos tienen una gran infraestructura que está trabajando con programas desde hace años para hacer los eventos más sostenibles. Pero les quiero decir de que también una federación pequeña lo puede organizar. Comencemos poco a poco, paso a paso, con pequeñas cosas. No es necesario hablar de grandes cosas al inicio. Comencemos con poquitas cosas. Pequeños detalles hacen la gran diferencia. Y yo les quiero mostrar hoy un pequeño video de una federación que solamente cuenta con 15 miembros, todos voluntarios, que está en el corazón de los Pirineos, que es la Federación de Andorra, que este primer año se sumó al programa KiSS y tuvieron un éxito increíble. Yo quiero que vean el video y les voy a ir explicando un poco las acciones que ellos realizaron. Por favor, si pudieran ponerme el video. Y un poquito de background, tal vez. Bueno, este es, como ustedes ven, pues como les decía, son voluntarios en trial. Ellos organizaron una fecha de trial, prepararon unos kits que eran unas bolsas en las cuales contenían ciertos artículos, entre ellas pues unas bolsas biodegradables, esas pulseras que son para crear esa concienciación, para crear conciencia entre todo el equipo, entre todos los espectadores y que todas las personas tengan ese sentido de pertenencia a un proyecto, en conjunto con una serie de acciones que va desde la medición de sonido, del compromiso de los pilotos, como pueden ver, de firmar un compromiso ambiental, de que van a cumplir con ciertas reglas, el uso de la alfombra medioambiental. Luego, pues esto implicó una serie de organización, no se utilizó papel, ellos utilizaban únicamente una carpeta online, discusiones con la FIM para presentarnos el proyecto, en qué iba a costar una gestión apropiada de residuos, también reciclaje, escoger las zonas. Eso fue parte súper importante porque lo trabajaron en conjunto con el gobierno y con nuestro encargado de las zonas, pues que escoge zonas apropiadas en base a un mapa ambiental, un punto de reciclaje con reciclaje para diferentes productos, pues esto ya también es parte de la reglamentación de la FIM. Y toda la gente pues participando en el evento porque el evento el programa da esa visibilidad, ¿no? Le permite a las personas que se hagan parte del evento. Ahí ven nuestro programa de reducción de sonido, los comisarios técnicos haciendo mediciones para garantizar, pues, de que el sonido de las motos no tenga ningún problema con el vecindario, ya que el evento, pues, se hace en el centro de la ciudad. Luego, las comisarios ambientales, pues, le daban un kit a cada uno de los comisarios de zona, los cuales les daban cepiolita por si había algún derrame, ceniceros portátiles, a pesar que era prohibido en el bosque de fumar, pues, pero por si acaso, pues les daban un cenicero portátil. Y se les explicaba a los espectadores, a cada uno, a los niños, qué era lo que se estaba haciendo, cómo estaban cuidando su montaña que es la que les genera realmente la economía a través del turismo, tanto en invierno como en el verano. Entonces, ustedes pueden ver, esta es una muestra que no es necesario ser un circuito tan grande como Mugello o como Kota o como Barcelona. Simple y sencillamente de lo que se trata es de tener la voluntad de inspirarse y de organizar las cosas en base a una política de sostenibilidad. Sí. Y la FIM está ahí para aconsejarles y para ayudarles cómo organizarlo y darles las directrices para poder hacerlo, ¿no? Nuestro embajador Fujinami Pues Andorra ha hecho un gran trabajo. Yo realmente los quiero felicitar aquí públicamente. Aquí está Carla. Carla, párate, por favor, para que te den un aplauso. Porque realmente esto realmente es hacer deporte sostenible. Y pues yo creo que un video vale más que 1000 palabras, pero bueno, también hubo muchas palabras, pero pero sí es una muestra para que ustedes pues se animen y hagan estos proyectos en sus países.
Thanks, Katia. So you really put a real example on the fact that we can apply, we can organize KiSS program or anyway an environmental social project to a small event with a small federation in a small place as well. So a great example. So this is something we need to, extend widely to other, events and disciplines as well. So talking about disciplines, Edgar, a question. So do you think KiSS program can be, widely extended to other motorsport disciplines, like for instance Formula One in Austin, or other kind of, motorsports?
So the principals can.
And how they accept,
Well, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
So right now, one of the I suppose one of the limitations of KiSS would be that it's an FIM program, right? And it lives within kind of the FIM umbrella. So, for example, at COTA, that's one of our events, but we have other events too that are not, that are, like you said, we have Formula One, and we have X Games, World Endurance, that fall outside of FIM. We still have sustainability initiatives that we implement for all of our events, right? I think it would be interesting if something like KiSS was maybe picked up and handled at some level across the event or across sanctioning bodies, so that it could be applied to we could get some kind of recognition from for all motorsports, whether that would be the KiSS program or whether the other bodies would implement their own version. I don't know, but I think that's an interesting discussion, because what happens right now is through the KiSS program at MotoGP is the event where our actions get the most kind of public recognition, as I mentioned before, because of the efforts where we can get access to the environmental ambassadors, we can get a lot of kind of media attention. We still do a lot of those same practices at our other events. We're doing them at Formula One, we're doing them World Endurance, but they're not getting the same recognition because we're doing it just as the promoter, we're doing it as the venue, and we're not getting necessarily the recognition of the sanctioning body. Although that improves every year, we get more attention. The X Games, are you familiar with the X Games, extreme sports? So we have the X Games. We've had some large environmental kind of activations that we've done with that event too. This year we did a program with we went to a local school, and the children built a mural using only recyclable materials, right, that they had found, and they made a mural that displayed both sport and kind of environmental actions. And then we brought the mural and we displayed it at the event, right, and all the children got to come for free with one parent. That was a neat event. We also had another program we did with a different school where the children had to do they had to photo document certain environmental actions, right? They went out and they picked up trash, and they went and they one day they carried a bag of trash where all the trash they generated for one day they carried with them, so they could get and visualize how much waste is produced in one day and see how much of that could be recycled or could have been avoided. And then those children were able to come and access some events for free as well. So I think there is a lot happening in motorsports in terms of sustainability. It's happening in kind of in different ways with different sanctioning bodies, right? So certainly the FIM and KiSS is the one that's from, in my opinion, what I've seen, the most aggressive and the most has the most developed program dealing specifically with the event itself, right? But certainly there's interest So for example, when we do the World Endurance Championship, right, WEC, and they run with an American series called Tudor, we have had, we run a conference where we talk about green technology in motorsports, right? And we bring in, we've had Audi, we've had Porsche come, we've had speakers from Michelin, tire manufacturers, and we have speakers, a panel like this, where they talk specifically about advances in the motorsport technology. That's different from the event. We're talking right now about greening of events. Yeah. But part of that event is we actually showcase the technology that's going on into the track, right? And so we will bring speakers in and we'll talk about the advances that are being made in efficiency, you know, engine efficiency, fuel efficiency, tires, the efficiency that's happening there, because tires have contributed significantly in automotive fuel efficiency, safety, which is often, you know, we kind of forget about that, but is also a contribution that's being made. And what's next in terms of motorsports, specifically advances that will make it to the consumer market, right? Not just on the track, but that will eventually make it to cars that you and I can buy and drive, right? So that we can all benefit. So that's a different way we showcase sustainability with that event. So each series, World Endurance, MotoGP, Formula One, they all have a little bit of a different flavor. And so each of them kind of decides to address sustainability, I'd say in a slightly different fashion, but it's there. It's there. Sometimes we're talking about on-track technology. Sometimes we're trying to do a lot with the fans. You know, I'd be interested in knowing if that's the same experience you've had at your circuit as well.
So anyway, Edgar, you are saying that we should need better synergies between, you know, the two federations, for instance, motorcycling and automobiles or something like that, I believe, in order to save money, or even also in terms of operation, in terms of, no.
Well, I think you're proposing here a session for the next World Motorsport Council or something, where we can have representatives from the different sanctioning bodies, right, the different sports, to get together and start having some dialogue. I think that you know, that's probably where this is headed.
Thank you. Christina, next step, I mean, in 1 year, 2 years' time for Barcelona circuit, do you have any specific project or initiative for Barcelona in place or in your mind, or based on your ideas, in order to step up, in order to scale up with the KiSS program, or anyway with the impact of you know, Barcelona circuit on environmental aspect or social aspect and so on? What's next practically?
Quisiera destacar que recientemente nos reunimos con la nueva dirección y Katia, y un poquito destacar que hay un cambio de gobierno, de disposición del gobierno en Cataluña, bueno, y en el Ayuntamiento de Barcelona, que un poco pretende acercarse un poquito más a la gente en cuanto a cuestiones de valores, de educación, de sostenibilidad. Hay un poco esa tendencia a acercarse más a trabajar esos valores que desde el circuito de Barcelona-Cataluña desde hace tiempo se están trabajando, con lo cual, bueno, había un poco la intención de hacer esa educación ambiental más cercana a todos los barrios y poderse acercar ahí. Entonces, recientemente también tuvimos oportunidad con Primi, un responsable de marketing que acaba de entrar en el equipo del circuito, y con Irene, de comentar que sería muy bueno también destacar la movilidad sostenible en cuanto a la oportunidad de que el circuito de Barcelona-Cataluña está en Montmeló, a 20 kilómetros de Barcelona, y hay la facilidad de llegar a través de una ruta que destacaríamos como ruta verde. En 1 hora llegas en el circuito y la gente pues se aficione a esa bicicleta para el transporte, que ya se hace de común en Barcelona. Hay muchos usuarios de bicicleta. Es interesante también poder comentar que quizás se haría difusión también del ciclismo en cuanto a que se proponía hacer una cursa ciclista dentro del circuito. Una serie de acciones que conjugan varios valores en cuanto a sostenibilidad, la salud, el esfuerzo, el respeto, es conjugar que el deporte y sumarnos ahí a todo lo que pueda llegar a sensibilizar a nuestra comunidad, ¿no? Y ahí estamos con esas proyecciones, sin dejar atrás que cada año pues estamos ahí con todos los aspectos medioambientales controlados, intentando evaluarlos, corrigiendo las desviaciones. Y bueno, es un poco lo que comentábamos ayer en la reunión de los versos de Antonio Machado, poeta andaluz, de caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. Bueno, ¿de acuerdo?
Yes, thanks, Christina. Transportation is really a big issue in terms of, environmental as well as other social impact, for accidents, for instance, roadblocks, and so on. Katia, would you like to say something?
Y solamente quería agregar algo que me pareció súper importante. Cuando tuvimos esta reunión con el nuevo director del circuito Barcelona-Cataluña, pues yo le decía, bueno, si es que estamos aquí para tratar de convencerte del programa, y me dijo, no te preocupes, el director está ya convencido. Quiero dejar un legado a la ciudad de Barcelona a través de KiSS. Quiero ir más allá del circuito. Entonces, esto nos da, y bueno, y coincidió, Marco, que increíble, pero el día del Gran Premio coincide con el Día Mundial de Medio Ambiente que impulsa Naciones Unidas a través de UNEP y que nosotros en la FIM celebramos. Así que estamos planeando con las chicas del circuito hacer una gran celebración para el Día Internacional del Medio Ambiente. Este día también con esa visión que tiene el director del circuito de ir mucho más allá y dejar un legado inmaterial.
You know, one thing we could do, I suppose, along those lines to leave a legacy, and you mentioned also that some of the smaller organizations sometimes say, well, Mugello or Kota, these are big circuits, they have resources. We don't, the smaller organizations say we don't. Perhaps something we could do to go towards what you were mentioning, which is spreading it, is we could work on, part of KiSS could be, we could contribute to a toolkit, right? A toolkit of resources that Mugello or Circuit of the Americas, or other circuits have put together. And there could be simple things, it could be lists, it could be worksheets, it could be actions, it could be schedules. But then if those are available through the FIM online as a kit to the smaller circuits or other organizers, they can use it as a starting point, and they'll already be, they'll inspired and have those tools that they can use or they can modify. So that could be something. And we have Austin to talk about. It's coming up in April, so maybe that's something we can start in Austin.
One question for you, maybe the last one, but not less important. Have you had the chance to assess the sensibility of the spectators when you launch the KiSS program? So did you manage to listen from their voices in terms of feedback, in terms of expectation, in terms of success of the initiative?
Well, inside the KiSS event, obviously, figures are the perfect answer to these kind of questions. No, when you organize one MotoGP event, and inside this MotoGP event you have a KiSS Motorland, the figures that shows how you are reducing the rubbish collection or how your grandstands or public areas look like at the end of the event. In many cases, this is the answer, no, to these kind of things, no. Obviously, when you incorporate new activities inside this KiSS Motorland, or you incorporate new actions inside these events, the behavior of the spectators is what probably is the best reference for you to see if that specific action has worked or not, or we have to modify it or change it for the future, or maybe people didn't understand very well what was the target of this kind of actions, no. But I think that a little bit in line with my colleagues, what they were saying, for us, one of the important things is try to look at this, let's call it 365 days KiSS Motorland, no? Because obviously we were talking about the big events and under the umbrella of the FIM to organize all these kind of activities is very easy, but what about the rest of the days, no? And I think this is where really the sustainability lessons are coming, no? When you are able to one day, another day, from our point of view, let's say there could be two words that could define the actions or the challenges or the necessary things to do for the future. It's the partnership, the commitment, and the sponsorship. I think these are two key words to be able to put in place activities. I mean, at the end of the day, all the initiatives in one way or the other, they cost money. And if you get partners to support. So this is one of the good things for small companies, small federations try to find. And I think there are many different ways where you can really obtain. You just have to really think what are the different possibilities. I will just put two examples, very, very, very fast examples. One with partnership and the other one with sponsorship. Together with Dorna, and thanks to Dorna, you know, in our technology park, there is the company that is developing and preparing the Moto2 engines for the Moto2 World Championship. So last year we realized that those engines, during the period of mileage, well, they are preparing before they are delivered to the teams, they are in a dyno bench and they are running. We have engines running then, generating energy. So we reached an agreement with the government of Aragon. We talked to Dorna, we talked to that company, and we are returning 0.7% of electric to the grid, which is power generated for those engines that no matter what, they have to be running.
Fantastic.
They have to be there. So if those engines have to be started and they are generating electric, let's put it back to the grid. Okay, it's not a big figure, but it's a little bit less than 1%, but somebody else doesn't have to generate that energy because we are already producing
it's a benefit
it, no?
anyway, yeah.
And then the second is related to one big challenge and big target that we have in Motorland, which is related to printing materials and paper, no? We just reached an agreement with one IT company, and we are implementing now an intranet inside of the racetrack through sponsorship, and it's totally free of charge for every single user that comes to the racetrack. So at the moment, yes, with the big championships, everybody has the technology to get the PDFs and to have all this information because the championships are strong enough. But with this system, 365 days, no matter which kind of activity we will have in Motorland, this intranet will be working, and every single small team will have, everybody has a smartphone or a computer, they will be able to receive through this intranet all the timing results and everything. So our target is just in a very near future to avoid completely the paper production in the different events. And this is coming through sponsorship. That's why for us, the future comes with these two things, the commitment and the partnership with companies that we know, and secondly through sponsor. I think is the best way, even for these, for big facilities, as we were saying before, Cota, Barcelona, Catalunya. Okay, yes, we are the big circuits, but we don't want to waste money. We are not rich. I mean, we are trying to do sustainable agreements for us to continue with the activities. And I think this is a good example for small federations or small initiatives in order to put in place the idea or the concept that they have from sustainability.
Good. Time flies and we are really running out of time. But Tomé mentioned two keywords, partnership and sponsorship. Just very quickly, which kind of other keywords you would like to add to those two ones to have or to embrace a 2.0 version of KiSS program? Marco, would you like to add something to partnership and sponsorship keywords in your mind?
I was saying that one of the targets of Yamaha in racing is just to give a message to the people that are joining the sports event and to bring back some emotion, some message, positive message. And we used to say in Yamaha that it's not important if you win or lose, but how you win and how you lose. So in my opinion, anyway, the sport event, the MotoGP sport event, it's very important to send the message, a clear message to everybody. So in Yamaha, we used to say we have to touch the heart of the people. We have to rev the heart. So means we have to transfer an emotion, and we have the right people that are our riders, our people working, not only the riders, that are very well known, and they can easily, in a smart way, to send important message to outside. So this is our commitment. Find a way to be efficient, that means sustainable in communication, because our corporate social responsibility is also to inspire, as we discussed. It's funny because 2 weeks ago I was in Japan, and I bought this plastic bag. It's written, inspiration comes of working. In my opinion, we have to work. And today, clearly, I saw the commitment of everybody to work on this project, to move to the next level that will be more organized, using the experience we got in these days. I want to find the time to give one simple present to everybody here. Not everybody of you, sorry, I have not enough. But
anyway, you can send an email to marco.riva.
We talked several times about time. It's time to change. It's a simple watch with the right color, and I want to, for everybody, is a simple message to thanks the people here, also including Luca, if you already have, but I will give you another one. Just to thanks, because this is an important moment for our sport, in my opinion, because, okay, we have to send positive messages. In the last weeks, we have some criticism from outside our world because of something happened, but in my opinion, most of us are committed to do something important for our sport, and I'm sure also you all here, from Ignacio to everybody, we are committed to our sport, and that become a reference also in terms of sustainability, as we are doing. Thank you anyway for I hope you smile when we talk about sustainability, because we talk sometimes too much seriously, but in my opinion, we have to transfer the passion that we have to do something that I'm proud of. So, and I'm sure also you. Thank you.
Okay, last few minutes, a few seconds, let me say. Katia, Edgar, and Cristina, please.
Bueno, yo solo quisiera aprovechar este momento para decirles que creo que estamos en un momento crucial, estamos en un momento de cambio. Yo creo que este panel significa mucho para el futuro de nuestro deporte, para el futuro de nuestros eventos, de nuestras prácticas pues que hacemos de ocio. Yo quiero pedirles que realmente se sientan inspirados por esto. Esa es la palabra de este congreso. Yo quiero pedirles que realmente piensen que tienen realmente la oportunidad de poder hacer algo tangible. Háganlo y realmente siéntanse inspirados y utilicen el deporte para algo positivo. El deporte tiene tantos valores, pero tantos valores, que no lo podemos utilizar para cosas negativas. Realmente utilicémoslo para cosas positivas, hagamos de este gran deporte un vehículo para inspirar a otros, un vehículo para educar a otros, y que sea realmente para algo positivo. Ese es mi mensaje, y quiero darles las gracias a todos ustedes por creer en nuestro proyecto. Creo que hemos forjado ya una familia realmente, y realmente es una dicha trabajar con profesionales de su nivel, porque ustedes realmente son los que le han dado vida a este proyecto. Gracias.
You want to say something? A few seconds, Edgar?
Well,
just to close down, yeah.
Yes, I think a few things. Certainly, thank you, Katia. Your vision has been contagious and has grown, and we could not have done what we've done in Austin without kind of Katia's energy and passion. You asked about KiSS 2.0 and words that we would add. I think certainly community and education are important. You know, reaching out to youth. You know, our sports doesn't exist in an island. we need to remain relevant to everybody else, and we need to also remain relevant, I think, to the next generation, right? Not only because they will inherit, you know, the earth we leave them, but also because it's the next generation of our fans.
Yeah.
And so we have to always connect to them. And so I think certainly what we'll be looking at in Austin in April is probably looking at some programs where we work with some schools and some youth groups to try to involve them more in our activities so that we can start making those types of connections. And it's a small step, but it's still, I think, you know, in the right direction.
Cristina?
Gracias. Yo quisiera concluir también con que la inspiración que esperamos haber podido transmitir se traduzca en una contribución con acciones reales que podríamos destacar que en el año 2014 hicimos la medición del KiSS Barcelona y conseguimos un ahorro de medir 400 toneladas de CO2 que se ahorraron, que fue por la contribución con el granito de arena de cada uno de los participantes en intentar hacer el evento sostenible del Gran Premio de MotoGP, consistente en movilidad sostenible que está al alcance de todos. No es complicado, es cuestión de tener esa motivación y esa conciencia en la que esperamos poder contribuir todos, y con la recogida selectiva, la valorización de los residuos. Eso equivale a 1.500 vuelos calculamos de Montmeló a Ginebra, en la sede de la FIM. Y bueno, pues gracias a todos.
Thank you. And unfortunately, time flies, as I mentioned before, and we ran out our session. I believe we had a great inspiration, but as well as a great facts and data that can demonstrate that sustainability can make the difference. And I thank you very much indeed, my panelists, which are my friends as well as experts and professionals in sustainability management. I thank you very much for your attention and your cooperation. And personally, I have to pay a big thank to Katja and, of course, to FAM to giving me this chance and this great opportunity. And see you later. Thank you very much indeed.